Hello and welcome to the channel. As always, like the video, and if you enjoyed the story, leave a comment on if you would want more. This fanfiction was not created by me, but in the description there is a link to the fanfic so you can show your support to the creator and read along. Without any more delay, let's dive into the story.
Hyuga Hayashi woke up, laying on his side, head faced to where his wife would be. First thing he saw was a human-sized log. He nearly screamed there and then, but instead formed his hands in a seal and screamed Kai. Nothing happened. He looked down at his bed. However, instead, there was a log. He looked at the door. There was a log. He looked at the floor. One big log. He looked down at himself. His sleepwear had logs all over it. He pinched himself. Please tell me I'm in a nightmare. Frantically panting, he ran to the bathroom, wanting to wash his face. Horrified, he peeked into the bathroom. The shower was one big, hollow log. A log, half hollowed, took the place of the toilet. He looked in the mirror. A log stared back at him. This time, he did scream. His wife instantly sat up, the door slamming open as guards walked in. Hayashi exited the bathroom to find several white-eyed logs staring at him with worry. "Darling, are you okay?" "The one on the bed, no," Log said, worried. "Ah." The Hyuga patriarch, still screaming, ran out of his room. As soon as he did, the floorboards became animated. "Yuo, Kia lead, me," it whispered, dead eyes staring at the Hyuga patriarch. "Nero Erderer." "No! Get away from me!" Hayashi jumped out of a nearby window, glass shattering, barely noticing the impact as he hit the grass. Well, it felt like grass. When he looked at it, he found himself staring at tiny strands of log waving around in the wind. He needed to get away from the logs. Too many logs. He ran into the village, rushing past log houses, log stores, log civilians, log ninjas. He screamed for the umpteenth time that day. The Hokage had just arrived in his office when he heard an ear-splitting shriek. He heard some more bashing and disturbances at the bottom of his tower, and was about to get up to fight, when the door slammed open, showing a crazed-looking man. Hyuga Hayashi was obviously not a morning person. He was still in white PJs, which consequently said all hail. The log all over it. His hair was a mess, tangled up and flying in all directions. His eyes were bloodshot and he was shivering all over. "Hayashi, what?" The Sandaime began, wondering what was wrong. "Thtth the logs," he screamed, stuttering like Hinata. "They're everywhere." "Don't worry, Hayashi," Sandaime said, enjoying this far too much. "It will all go away. For the log is with thee, my friend. The most holy of the forest shall save thee. Shall be thy salvation. And yet, the log asks for nothing in return." That was the last straw. With one last, blood-curdling scream, Hyuga Hayashi fainted. "You do know, he will kill you, Naruto," the Hokage thought wryly. "Naruto," Hinata said, meeting the 8-year-old blonde in a dojo. "Was it you?" By now the whole compound knew of Hayashi's moment of insanity, and all blamed Naruto. The log commanded it. "Hinata-chan, let's just go to our sparring session." Minutes later Hayashi arrived, looking as if nothing had happened in the morning, losing no composure when he saw the mischief-making LogWorshipper. "Children, today we will do something different." He began with a sadistic gleam in his eyes. "Hinata, you will begin to teach Hanabi the basics of the Juken, and Naruto," he said, restraining the urge to cackle evilly. "Naruto will spare with me." "Ha ha ha ha." The Kyuubi laughed cruelly at his jailer's punishment. "You're screwed and ain't no log here to save you now." Naruto gulped visibly, Hinata sending him a pitying glance as she went off to find her sister. "Ow." Naruto moaned as he tried to sit down next to a chuckling Hinata. "Ow, ow, it's not funny." I know he had a reason to be annoyed, but that Tenketsu strike to the butt was just overkill. Hinata's small chuckles turned into full-blown laughter. She just couldn't help it. So Hinata, you're starting the academy in 3 years too? Yes, I'll be graduating when I'm 12. You? Hinata said, stutter-free words coming natural to her. Her sparring lessons, which usually extended into full-blown taijutsu lessons, had given her a lot of confidence. Consequently, Hayashi did not give up on her eldest daughter. Me too. Ooh, I can't wait. Naruto said excitedly. Academy will be boring, but afterward I can become a fully fledged ninja and protect the log. And air, my comrades. Hinata giggled a bit at that. They began to chat a bit, one thing leading to another, and next thing they knew they were talking about training. Unlike Hinata, Naruto had no qualms talking about specifics, except his teacher. Hinata-chan, did you find out your elemental affinity yet? No. Apparently, my chakra will not be developed enough for quite some time. Oh. Hee hee, I found out mine and I had 3. It's amazing, isn't it? Hikage, performing the parental duty of protective surveillance from one of the balconies, gasped at this. Wow! Hinata exclaimed. I wish I could find my elemental affinity. She lamented. Oh, that's easy. Naruto said, before making a clone which ran off and came back shortly with 2 pieces of paper. Just channel chakra into it. Hinata channeled the chakra, not expecting any results. She was pleasantly surprised when the paper crumpled up, signifying her lightning affinity. Awesome! You should see what happens when I do it. Naruto said proudly. He charged chakra into it, getting the expected first result of a ripped-in-half paper. However, the second result blew Hikage's mind. The 2 halves of the paper hardened, thickening into wooden slabs. I wonder what that means. Naruto mused. The Hokage had hardly expected Hikage of all people to run into his office, panting. Take a seat, my dear. He said, pouring her a cup of tea. Is something wrong? It's Naruto, Hokage-sama. Oh? The Hokage asked, groaning inwardly. He was showing Hinata how to find out her elemental affinity, and she's a right-ton, she said proudly. Anyway, Naruto then proceeded to take out another chakra paper and channel his chakra into it. Ah yes, Naruto has wind, earth, and water. Quite jaw-dropping for one his age. If you think that's jaw-dropping, then prepare. After he channeled chakra, the paper ripped, then it turned to wood. You could have heard a pin drop. Or for that matter, a pipe drop, as the Hokage's mouth was open in amazement. Do you have any idea what that means, Hokage-sama? It means, he is a Mokuton user. Oh, wow, Mokuton? I mean, no one's seen that since Shodai. Yes, well, for now, please do not tell anyone, except maybe Hayashi. Now, if you don't mind, I really have matters I need to focus on. Of course. Farewell, Hokage-sama. Yes, goodbye. Oh, and Hikage? Sandaime said before the Hyuga matriarch could leave. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. As soon as she left, Hiruzen called for his secretary. She popped her head in. Can I help you, Hokage-sama? Yes, Nemo, can you please get ANBU agent Nico? Hi, Hokage-sama. 2 minutes later, said ANBU was in front of him, brown hair showing over his cat mask. Nico-san, I am assigning you a new, A-rank mission. Hi, Hokage-sama. Details, please? You are to take a 6-month break from ANBU duty, as natural Mokuton abilities have risen in a young ninja in training. The shock ran through the ANBU agent like an S-rank Raitun jutsu. During this period you will be suspended as an ANBU agent and you will become a jounin. I assure you it is only temporary. If I may ask, Hokage-sama, who is the Mokuton user whom I shall be teaching? Uzumaki Naruto. He has Mokuton? Yes. Now you will not only teach him Mokuton ninjutsu, you will teach him earth and water jutsu as well as taijutsu if you can. Your file states that you are an S rank with the wakizashi and whipping willow style, and you have lots of experience fighting with clones. True? Hi. The ex-umbu replied, still in a daze. Well, you are to teach your student all of this. If you need more than 6 months, then it can easily be arranged. Similarly, if you finish quicker than that, I can reinstate you into active duty. Hi Hokage-sama. Any questions? Where and when will we train? I have had another instructor teaching him for a year and a half now, so you will not need to teach him any basics. From now on, his training will be fully handled by you and you alone, and it will take place in the Sarutobi personal training ground. Here is the summarizing file of Naruto's ninja skills and the training he has undergone, as well as some previously planned lessons. Oh, and last thing, do not make his Mokuton techniques common knowledge, except with the Hyuga clan, with whom he takes taijutsu practice sparring every day at 10 a.m. You are dismissed. Right before the cat-faced ANBU left, the Hokage told him to take off his mask, before bidding goodbye. Yamato first went to the young Uzumaki's house, finding no one there. He quickly visited the Sarutobi personal training ground, also finding it vacated. He then went to the Hyuga mansion. He exchanged greetings with the guards before going off to find his young charge. He quickly found himself face to face with an overprotective 4-year-old. Hanabi knew of the mean people who hated Naruto, so naturally when a stranger came to ask for him, she did not give his location straight away. The sight of the 4-year-old in front of him, arms crossed, staring haughtily at him nearly made Yamato laugh. Why do you want Naruto-kun? She asked. I'm his new instructor. What are you going to teach him? She asked suspiciously. He played with the idea of refusing to tell her, but decided against it. Mokuton. What's Mokuton? She asked, this time purely to sate her curiosity. Control over the wood element. He replied. Hanabi's eyes widened, saucers staring at the ninja in front of him. Really? Show me. Fine. Yamato said, at the moment willing to do anything to get this nosy 4-year-old away from him. He flipped through some hand seals, causing a small tree to sprout next to him. Kawaii. Hanabi said, glomping on the stranger. Naruto can do that? Yes. Yes. Now please let me go find him. No. I must teach you the ways of the log. The what? Don't you mean God? I meant what I said, fool. The holy log. But, holy log? The log is my savior, I shall not char. It burneth in my stead, it protecteth me from the flames. It confoundeth mine enemies, it covereth mine escape. Yea, though I walk through the compounds of Uchiha, I will fear no Katen, for thou art with me, thy bark and thy sap they shieldeth me. Thou provideth me with shielding from the kunai of my enemies, from their shuriken and their wrath, my gratitude is never ending. Surely splinters and termites shall follow me all my ninja life, but I shall remain devoted to the log forever. Hanabi said reverently. Are you talking about the Kawarimi? Yamato asked, unknowingly quoting many before him. Yes. 5 hours later. All hail the holy log. Hanabi chanted. Hail the log, hail the log. Yamato shouted reverently. Test of faith number 1, check. Alright, fellow log acolyte, Hanabi said, let us find Naruto-kun such that he may learn the holy powers of log. Holy powers of log. Yamato parroted. Yamato found himself led to one of the most obscure training grounds excluding the Forest of Death, in Konoha. It seemed that Naruto was trying to secretly teach Hinata a small Raiten jutsu he had learned at some point in his training. Hinata was worried she was in trouble, but Yamato quickly put that doubt to rest. I'm here because, from now on I'll be Naruto's new sensei. Why? Naruto whined. I like the happy old sensei. He said, saving himself quickly. Well, Naruto, it seems you have the ability to do the Mokuton. Me, Mokuton, you, are you serious? Naruto screamed. It was like a dream come true. Yes. Yamato said shortly. Awesome. But wait, why are you more suited to teach me than the old sensei? Due to some odd circumstances, I also possess the Mokuton, but not as strong as Shodeus, nor probably as strong as yours, seeing as you're also a natural. And, the Holy Log bid me to teach thee. All hail the Holy Log! Naruto shouted, Hinata covering her ears in pain. Hail the log, may its holy life sap invigorate us for all eternity. Log Sensei, Naruto began, earning an odd look for an equally odd name, please bless me with an example. Logashiego, Log Disciple, I shall do so. With a mere hand sign, Naruto was trapped in a rapidly growing tree. Thank you for this demonstration of pure awesome. Naruto said humbly. Yamato looked at the sun, judging that it was around 6 p.m. Naruto-kun, we still have around 3 to 4 hours till we have to go. How about I begin you on your Mokuton technique such that you may practice overnight with your shadow clones? Yes please, Log Sensei. Okay, the first technique I will show you is the Moku Bunshin no Jutsu, wood clone technique. The hand signs are tiger, dog, snake. Naruto progressed quickly, at some point the Sandaime showing him how to split his whip into two. Basically, it took the shape of the chakra which you poured in, which was how Naruto ended up learning to dual-wield wakizashis. He continued learning Senkuken and Takyuken, as well as the whipping willow style, and learning a myriad of Mokuton, Suiton, Doton, and Futon jutsus. His sensei also taught him some Raiton and Katon, but not very much. With Hanabi's and several shadow clones' help, Naruto totally refurbished and changed the Hyuga mansion, replacing the wooden floorboards with elegantly designed white tiles, etc. Naruto had developed his own jutsu, one that had really surprised Yamato in their sparring session. Flashback. Yamato slammed his fist into one Naruto clone, watching it erupt in smoke. He pulled back his fist, aiming another punch at another clone. This time he pulled back his fist covered in deep cuts. Logashiego, what was that? Log Sensei, I developed a jutsu. The Kaze Bunshin no Jutsu, wind clone technique. I am proud of you, Logashiego. Use this new power wisely to protect the log. He also finished the allotted time span for protecting his practice log. He did not abandon it, instead he used his newly learned Uto Susei no Jutsu, wood rebirth technique, on it. He began to actually search for heretics. He racked his brain, making a list of all heresy committed by the Sandaime, from willingly using log paper to throwing kunai at wooden targets. Wooden targets for log's sake. He pondered for ages, wondering exactly how to punish his Jiji. How does one punish the strongest man in the village? The answer struck Naruto like lightning, and he quickly ran to his apartment to prepare. The Sandaime, at age 73, was not exactly young, so he allowed himself his vices and guilty indulgences. 2 guilty indulgences to be precise, Ika, written by his student, and his tobacco-filled pipe. At 7 a.m. in the morning, before the workday begun, he usually indulged a bit. He sat in his comfortable leather chair, pulling his Ika book out from a secret drawer. He barely noticed that the title had changed, from Ika Jumanokudo to Ika Hate Kankyu. He flipped through the pages, opening it to where he had left off. Nina, the beautiful buxom seamstress, had just been successfully seduced by the charming Daisuke. Instead of finding the expected scene, he found 2 men on the book, drawn with accurate details, engaging in hot, sweaty intercourse. Daisuke moaned as Ushimara hit that sweet spot deep inside him. Sarutobi threw the book as far as he could from himself, splintering the opposite wall. He willed himself to calm down, trying to forget that horrible, blasphemous picture. Deciding to forego the usual pipe smoking, he picked up the first paper from a large pile. Petition for log classes. Naruto. He growled evilly, reading the title of the paper. He went through all the papers one by one, finding each similarly titled. He burned them all, pulling another batch of paperwork. This one was normal, and the Hokage began the tedious task of stamping rejected, rejected, rejected on each one. Suddenly he heard an evil, maniacal laughter. He turned around to find the source, finding himself staring at the paperwork, which now had two evil, glowing eyes, fangs and slits for a nose. Sarutobi-kun. It said evilly. It is time for you to dash squawk. Hiruzen looked at the flaming mess of paperwork, sighing forlornly. Okay, now I really need my pipe. He lit it, vaguely noting that the resulting fumes did not smell like tobacco, but taking a long drag anyway. Hatake Kakashi, tired from his S-rank mission, entered the Hokage's office in his dirty and bloody uniform. Hokage-sama, ANBU Agent Inu reporting for duty. He. The Kage giggled. Hokage-sama? Giggles. Hokage-sama, are you okay? Okay, I've never been better. The Hokage replied, his pitch fluctuating. Giggles. Air, sir. The Hokage took a long drag on his pipe. You should tryy. He said, his voice like a young girl's. Home of this. It's magical. Hokage-sama. Inu-san. Hokage said seriously. Come here, I have something really important to tell you. Slightly relieved that his superior was talking normally, the ANBU went up to his Kage. Closure. He leaned closer, till the old man's mouth was at his ear. What I'm about to tell you is an S-rank secret. He whispered dramatically. Yes, Hokage-sama? I have. Yes? I have a unicorn. Sweat drop. Giggles. But you can't tell anyone. Nemo-san. Kakashi called the secretary. You might want to come see this. Yes, Inu-san? She asked the dog-masked ANBU. I has a unicorn. Excuse me, Hokage-sama? Nemo asked politely. His name is Charlie. He said, ending with a whisper. She then took a sniff, smelling the odd fumes, before looking at the Hokage's bloodshot eyes. Hokage-sama, can I see your pipe? No. Charlie, run, they want to hurt you. Hokage-sama, Hiruzi. Nemo said, finally getting a response with the last one. Charlie's evil. No. Charlie's evil. Really? He kills people while you're not looking. Evil? Like paperwork? Nemo sighed. Yes, like paperwork. The Hokage gave the woman his pipe, sighing sadly. Oh, how he'd miss Charlie. His secretary turned to the ANBU, who was slightly scared by now. It seems, Ino-san, that our Hokage is smoking weed. Weed? Yes, an odd mix between weed and crack. Oh, that's not good. Yes. Terrible. Now, how can we get him to the hospital? Hokage-sama. Kakashi begun. Charlie's angelic twin is at the hospital. Take this note, give it to a nurse and she'll show you to him. The Hokage sped out, leaving a cloud of smoke. What does the note say? Knock me out and treat me for mental instability. Kakashi quoted. Mental instability? You idiot. Nemo moaned, running to find her boss. Kakashi was about to leave, but found himself nearly tripping up on a red book, with a picture of a woman chasing a man on the front. What's this? Kakashi queried, opening the book. Disturbing perverted giggles haunted the tower's occupants for the rest of the day. Naruto and Hanabi were congratulating themselves on a heretic punishing job well done with a hot, salty bowl of miso ramen when they both suddenly shuddered. I have a feeling we've released something horrible unto the world today. Naruto said sadly. Hanabi could only mutely agree. Throughout the following year, Naruto and Hanabi sabotaged a whole paper-producing factory, killed several woodpeckers, dark creatures of pure, unadulterated evil at least, if you asked Naruto that was, and been punished severely for the weed stunt. Flashback. How did you get the weed in the first place? The Hokage asked, having severely scolded the two children in front of him. Oh, simple, Naruto replied. I just asked it to grow. The Sandaime sighed sadly. End flashback. Naruto became at least B rank with his Naikinyari, the double-ended spear, B rank with 2 wakizashis and A rank while wielding one, and by the time he had entered the academy his ninjutsu arsenal was absolutely massive. His most favorite technique so far was doing combination jutsu with himself. Well, his clone at least, but it still counted. From sending accelerated jets of wind-pressured water in a cutting manner, often electrifying it with another clone, to sending spears of wood surrounded by cutting winds. Naruto was really creative. Before he knew it, Naruto was beginning the academy. Yamato, although having only been assigned Naruto's sensei for 6 months, he continued teaching the blonde for much longer, staying in Jounin until then. Naruto had been sure he was absolutely ready, till he decided to get his clothing ready. Looking through his collection of kimonos, training gi and shizokas, he decided none would be totally fit for a regular academy. With that thought in mind, he took his savings, rather, Kenchi's savings and went to the shinobi armory, deciding to get some normal clothing. He walked around the shop, before finding a set of clothes which were the definition of epic. He added the loose trousers and shirt, both designed to look like wood. He bought some bandages to secure the trousers at the ankle, before buying a belt to hold his mutating weapon, as his sensei liked to call it. Finally, he bought elbow pads and a headband. He hid his ever-present weights given to him by his log sensei under the gloves and boots which his Gigi had got him so long ago. Praising himself in the mirror of the shinobi store, Naruto ordered 10 more sets of the clothing to be made, paying for the one he wore on the spot. Through the relatively quiet streets, Naruto walked to his destination, slowly walking to the Hyuga mansion. Once he arrived, he greeted his 7-year-old Hanabi, picking up an 11-year-old Hinata who incidentally, really loved his new outfit. They walked to the academy, hand in hand, no romantic intentions, of course arriving a full hour early. They decided to wait in the playground, where they also found a boy their age in a long overcoat which extended over his mouth, dark shades hiding his eyes. In fact, the only skin showing was the cheeks, nose, and forehead. Hello, Aburame-san. Hinata said, instantly recognizing him from his appearance. Blessings of the log be upon you. Naruto said cheerily. Shino turned to look at him, wondering about the odd greeting. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, and my good friend here is Hyuga Hinata. She's awesome, by the way. Greetings, my name is Aburame Shino. Naruto looked at him suspiciously. You don't control any termites, do you? No. Why do you ask? Termites are evil. I'm safe this way. Shino-san, are you starting the academy this year? Yes. He replied shortly. Some may have taken offense, but Hinata knew very well how the Aburame spoke. Hinata and Naruto quickly found themselves running out of things to talk about with the other boy, mostly due to the fact that Aburames don't talk much. Naruto passed the time easily, watching his clones practice with Kogi and Koi, Justice and Honor, his twin wakizashis. He had remembered first using the clones for physical practice. Flashback. Yamato finished teaching Naruto the first katas for his wakizashi, before telling him to create 50 clones. The blonde did so without a single hand sign, evidence of his mastery of the jutsu, all the clones appearing with a wakizashi in their hand. All of you, begin the first kata. Yamato shouted. Nani? Naruto asked. I thought you don't gain the physical gain of your clones. He stated, confused. My Logashiego, there is a difference. While if you set 50 clones to do push-ups, you wouldn't really get anything except a load of exhaustion. However, if you set them to do something repetitive, like katas, they will pass on the memory. But I thought things like that were muscle memory. Yes. The muscle memory of the clones gets passed on to you. Where else would you get the exhaustion from? Oh, okay then. Kata 1, clones. Chop chop, literally. End flashback. While his 2 clones sparred in front of him, 350 more were training at the Sarutobi grounds. Oh, the beauty of shadow clones. The playground gradually filled up with children starting this year. Naruto noticed a wide selection of clan members joining with him: an Uchiha, a Hyuga, a Yamanaka, an Akamichi, a Nara, an Aburame, and an Inuzuka, dog and all. The bell rung, signifying the leaving of parents and the entering of children. Naruto loitered behind, allowing everyone to enter the class before him. He was so excited. This was step 1 of his path to become Hokage, to better protect the holy log. He opened the door, walking in to find everyone sitting before him, before he stopped in horror. Uzumaki! What's wrong? A scar-faced instructed asked. Wooden chairs. Wooden floorboards. Wooden desks. Wooden display boards. Wooden doors. Ah! Naruto screamed, running out. Okay, then. Iruka began, my name is Iruka and... Naruto returned just in time to find the children about to exit the class for jutsu practice, a horde of clones behind him, each carrying metal chairs, made comfortable with cushioning foam, covered in leathers. Another horde brought in an equal amount of metal tables for each student, followed by a large, metal desk for his teacher. The floorboards were quickly replaced by cool tiles by another group, the display boards replaced with a plastic one. Finally, the door was knocked down, replaced by a large metal one. All better. Naruto said, some clones behind him holding all the old wooden stuff. Okay, well, we have all finished introducing ourselves, and we're just about to show some jutsu which had already been learned. So why don't you introduce yourself, then we can continue. Oh. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I like the holy log, Hinata-chan, and my fellow log acolytes. I dislike those who needlessly use logs when they could have dodged, those who murder logs in trees and use logs as furnishing of all things. My hobby is training and planting saplings. My dream is to become Hokage such that I may protect the logs even more. Iruka sighed. There always had to be one oddball, didn't there? They went to an academy training ground, where Iruka stood before his class. So how many of you know a jutsu? 7 hands raised. Alright then. Kiba, you go first. Said Inuzuka jumped in the air, spinning in the air, resembling a drill to those present. Good. Shikamaru, your turn. Troublesome. He sighed. He formed his hand in an odd seal, his shadow extending to meet Iruka's. Kageme no Jutsu. Excellent. Shino, you're next. Bugs began to pour out of Shino's coat, gathering at a spot to his left. They formed a vaguely human shape, till more bugs were added and a full Shino clone was formed. Mushi Bunshin no Jutsu. The bug user said stoically. Mr. Akimichi. Iruka called, looking at his plump student. Go! The brown-haired youth formed a hand seal, shouting Baika no Jutsu. He expanded threefold, giving an almost comical rounded appearance. He then let go of the transformation, once again becoming smaller. Hinata, your turn. The once shy girl stepped forward, forming some hand seals. Raiton, Denko Shuriken, Lightning Release, Lightning Shuriken. 3 shurikens of crackling yellow energy formed at Hinata's hand, before she threw them at the floor. A distinct smell of ozone was released as she burnt the grass. Good job. Sasuke, go. The Uchiha stepped forward, flipping through hand seals. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu. A huge orb of roaring flames expelled from his mouth, slamming it into a nearby tree, which burned to ashes in seconds. Naruto growled slightly. He had just found his 4th heretic. Wow, well, finally, Naruto. Go. The clones of Naruto lay all the wooden objects at the edge of the clearing, each slightly separate. Uto Susiai no Jutsu, Naruto said, after flipping through some hand seals. The wooden objects absorbed into the ground, before suddenly sprouting into large trees. That was my wood rebirth technique. It returns murdered logs into the trees they were born from. A Mokuton. Irika inwardly gasped. Good job, Mizuki, the assistant sensei said. Now, let's get back to class so we may begin our lessons. A collective groan ran through the 30 or so students as they followed their senseis back inside. Everyone took their quite comfortable seats, watching their teacher in front. Let's begin our lessons. First, we will be doing the history of shinobi. Irika began, giving a rather boring introduction to the subject. So, does anyone know anything of the Shodai? A pink-haired girl raised her hand. He was the first Hokage, and had a rare control over wood. Good. Anyone else? Irika asked. Naruto put his hand up. Naruto. As the 7th moon cycle passed, Naruto began to quote. The holy log pope begged for help from the gods, and his pleas were justly answered. Bathed in light, Hashirama Senju took up the holy powers of the log, and as the light left him, he said, "Let there be logs." Everyone looked at him, quite confused. There's more. Naruto said quickly, before quoting again. As the two titans clashed, the world stood at standstill, the black flame of the heretic Uchiha Madara blazing fiercely against the holy life-giving power of the log Pope Senju Hashirama. As the ebony flame threatens to vanquish the divination of the holy log, it all came to naught as the Shodai Hokage drew all of his power to quench the abomination, thus ending the terror which threatened the continuity of the blessing from the holy sap. Stupid daube. Sasuke said from his seat at the front. He hadn't heard of this Uchiha Madara, but he was an Uchiha, and such lowly scum did not have any right to even mention his name, never mind insult him. As if the powers of the log, he said scornfully, could ever beat an Uchiha, the best of the B-. He was halted by a chunk of wood slamming into his cheek. Don't insult the log. Naruto said fiercely. Sasuke was about to fight back when Mizuki stopped them. Now, leave the fighting for our monthly taijutsu ranking contest. But he's evil. Naruto screamed. Evil? Mizuki asked. Yes, all Uchiha are evil. He breathes fire for log's sake. Naruto, that's enough. Irika said forcefully. Once everyone calmed down, he began again. The Shodai was the first Hokage of Konoha. And so Naruto's academy days began, most of which he spent reading the awesome book on Fuinjutsu he had gotten for his last birthday. And the ones after it, and after them. Naruto, along with several other academy students, stood outside the ring, waiting for their turn at the first monthly fighting tournament. While there were written and oral tests, which Sakura always came first in, Hinata closely following, the fighting tournament was where the excitement really lay. All right, kids. Mizuki shouted over the chatter, first match will be. Irika pulled two names out of a bowl, before shouting Kiba and Chuji. Okay then, you're allowed to use anything, just nothing permanently crippling, Mizuki said as the two kids walked into the ring. Other than that, begin. Baika no Jutsu. Chuji shouted, expanding into a huge human ball. Shikyaku no Jutsu. Kiba shouted, getting on all fours. Wisps of loose chakra could be seen as his claws grew and he became more feral. The Inuzuka rolled away from the large hand, which slammed into the spot he had just vacated. He decided to not waste time, shouting, Suga. His drilling form ran right into the large student, who could feel several harsh scratches, cuts and bruises as he was pummeled, sent flying out of the ring, thus giving victory to the Inuzuka. Kiba wins. Mizuki said to a round of small cheers. Next up. Hinata and Sakura. Irika finished. There was really no need to go into details. The Hyuga princess could have killed the pink-haired fangirl with just one strike, instead deciding to just knock her off her feet and throw her out of the ring. Hinata wins. Mizuki shouted, now. Naruto and Shino. Naruto entered the ring, facing his opponent who calmly assessed him. Shino didn't know much about his opponent. They had been to the academy together for 2 weeks now, but not much had been displayed of his fighting style except his control over wood. Begin! Naruto instantly sent 2 chunks of wood flying at the bug user, who systematically dodged with minimal movement. He began to send his bugs out to the boy, who was making hand seals. Raiton Shuriken Rebufu. Lightning release, Shuriken Lightning Storm. Naruto pulled out a shuriken, throwing it at the incoming cloud of black insects. The Kakashi made way for the shuriken, but as soon as it came close, tiny strands of lightning slammed into each bug, a good 3/4 of them falling to the floor as they were hit. Don't worry, Shino, they're just stunned for a bit. I didn't fully charge it with chakra, Naruto said, before rushing to his opponent. After a quick bout of taijutsu, he managed to catch Shino with his Mokuton. Kabendo no Jutsu would release, tree bind technique, said bug user, finding himself squashed in a rapidly growing tree. Victory goes to Naruto, Mizuki shouted to a round of trees. Now could you please release him? Naruto made another hand sign, the tree being reabsorbed by the ground. At the same time, Shino's fallen bugs got up, returning to their home. Thank you for not decimating my horde. Think nothing of it, Naruto replied. Oh look, Ino's against Sasuke. Ino quickly forfeit, knowing she was no match for the Uchiha genius, leaving him with Victory and Shikamaru to quickly win against some unimportant other genin, who would ultimately fail the year and thus does not deserve a name. The next round began, Irika sporting a much lighter bowl this time. Hinata and Kiba. Kiba once again activated his 4 legs technique, rushing at his opponent. Hinata activated her Byakugan, pirouetting to the side from the vicious attack. She narrowly missed a claw, jumping over a spinning kick. She sidestepped an axe kick, surgically injecting chakra into several tenketsu there. The 2 fighters sprang away from each other. Kiba rushed at her again, a visible limp in his left leg. A few more tenketsu strikes later and Kiba had to be dragged out of the ring, humiliated at being beaten by a girl, and having his legs not obey him. Irika called the match in her favor. Next, Shikamaru and Shino. Troublesome, Shikamaru muttered, entering the ring. The match began, and Shino found himself quickly trapped in his shadow jutsu. Kageme no Jutsu, success, Shikamaru said, smirking slightly. However, Shino's bugs, independent of his jutsu, just flowed towards him, causing the Nara boy to run, the bug user following his footsteps. Shino found himself running towards one edge of the ring, while his opponent was closer to the middle, and with one final step, he was pushed out, and thus disqualified. His bugs returned to him. Victory to Shikamaru, Mizuki said, before calling the next match. Chuji and Naruto. Chuji attacked the blonde, who gracefully assumed the whipping willow style. With the Akimiki's raw strength, he knew the Takyuken would be less effective. Chuji aimed a sluggish but well-aimed punch at his opponent's head, who bent his back low. Naruto merged his dodge into a handstand, bringing his legs up against the plump boy's chest, sending his opponent back a couple of feet. Naruto jumped again after landing, aiming a dropping heel kick at the boy's shoulder. However, Chuji managed to sidestep it, slamming a palm out to intercept the blonde. Naruto twisted unnaturally in mid-air, just avoiding the palm. He was already doing hand seals as he landed. Doton, Yochi Danmaki. Earth release, Earth barrage. The earth in front of Naruto rumbled a bit, groaning as Naruto slammed his palm into the floor. Golf ball-sized chunks of earth barraged the Akimichi, who could only shield his face with his arms as he was attacked. He was pushed back several meters, ultimately falling outside the ring. Victory to Naruto. Great match, Naruto said enthusiastically to the Akimichi, going to help him get up. The Akimichi took the outstretched hand, chuckling awkwardly. Sasuke gets a bye for this round, Irika said, refilling the bowl with the remaining contestants. Naruto and Shikamaru, Mizuki announced. The 2 boys squared off, attacking each other. Naruto jumped over the shadow which wiggled towards him, making a Moku Bunshin as he did so, The Bunshin allowed itself to get caught in the shadow, and using the 60% of his original strength, resisted the will to move his legs. Meanwhile, the real Naruto made a quick torch out of wood. Some thought he would light it with a katan jutsu, but Naruto almost puked at the mere thought of it. Instead, he used one of the many survival camping jutsu to make a bright, shining light. The camping jutsu which Yamato had shown him were small things which just made a ninja's day easier, ranging from condensing water for drinking to making a wooden hut. This jutsu was supposed to cast a soft glow, but instead Naruto flooded it with chakra, making an almost blinding light. Shikamaru knew his shadow jutsu would be useless now, and to avoid a needless pummeling, he forfeited. Hinata and Sasuke. The two academy students entered the ring, facing each other. "You have no hope to win," Sasuke began, "as I am an Uchiha, our blood is dash." He was shut up by a Tenketsu strike to the shoulder, having not even noticed the match began. "Stop whining and fight already, Uchiha team!" Naruto shouted. He would have retaliated, but a Tenketsu strike to the other shoulder cut him off. He growled slightly. Turning to his opponent, Sasuke found that she already had her Byakugan active and was rushing towards him. He ducked a jab to his head, sidestepped one to his leg and dodged one to his stomach, but was caught off guard by the kick which slammed into his cheek. Since when do Hyugas kick? Raiton, Hiradajiki. Lightning release, palm shock. The girl's palm was instantly surrounded by crackling energy, and she rushed again to attack the Uchiha. He was nearly hit by the Tenketsu strike with her left hand, but dodged, only to have the electric palm slam into his stomach, sending him flying out of the ring, spasming slightly. Hinata wins. Mizuki announced as Sasuke was flocked by fangirls. "I can't believe I lost, to a girl, and a Hyuga no less." Sasuke growled inwardly. This, of course, left Hinata and Naruto to fight against each other. Some may have expected them to be too shy to fight each other, but they faced each other and were soon in a familiar routine of strike, counter-strike, parry and dodges. After a heated 5 minutes taijutsu battle, the two 11-year-olds jumped back, simultaneously forming hand seals. Half a minute later, the two of them were still performing hand seals. Irika's eyes widened as he saw the last sequence. "Everyone scatter!" he shouted. All the children ran as far away from the ring without losing sight of the fight. Suiton, Suoryuden. Water release, water dragon bullet technique. Raiton, Raitama. Lightning release, lightning ball. In the face of Naruto's 20-foot-tall water dragon, the small, lightning ball seemed negligible. The water dragon began to move towards its target, while the ball moved to said dragon. The ball began to expand as it moved, the yellow lightning becoming a stormy blue, until it was as large as the dragon's head. Everyone thought it still wouldn't be enough. Raitama, Katsu. The ball of electricity exploded, scattering the water dragon into pieces, sending electrically charged water everywhere. It wasn't far enough to reach the spectators, but Irika watched in horror as the water fell on the two combatants, who had both put up earth shields. The two combatants allowed their shields to dissolve in the ground, running towards each other. Hinata jumped over Naruto's opening sweep kick, jabbing at his chest. Her attack was dodged, and she found herself sidestepping Naruto's punch. She knew that, had Naruto used his Mokuton techniques, she would have lost eons ago, but Naruto was too nice, right? Mokuton, Makawana Seido. Would release, would trap activate. Hinata looked down in horror, finding that she had indeed stepped on the small, palm-sized piece of wood required for the technique. It quickly grew, twining around her body like vines, holding her in a stiff embrace. It took Irika a moment to realize that the match was over before he walked up to them. "All right, Naruto wins." Good job, everyone go inside." "Wait, Naruto, could you?" Irika asked, vaguely pointing at the wet, pockmarked, burnt, uneven ground thanks to the 11-year-old's displays. "Oh sure," Naruto said cheerily. He held his hands in the snake seal, brown furrowing for a second. The mud smoothed over, grass regrowing till the training ground was back to its normal form. "Don't you need some sort of jutsu for that?" Irika asked incredulously. What type of ninja would be stupid enough to make a jutsu for smoothing out some mud? That was just earth manipulation. Earth manipulation? Irika thought dully, looking at the flawlessly smooth floor with fresh, even grass, like a nobleman's. His head wryly, the scarred man walked into the class, where he wished all the children would be obediently sitting on their desks. Which they were, thanks to Mizuki. Okay children, I have observed lots of things from the fights, the first being that Shikamaru, Sakura and Ino will stay after school every day for remedial taijutsu where you will learn the academy style. But dash. Ino began. No buts. The rest of the children have at least taijutsu on par, so they do not need to learn it, but you must. Irika said finally. For this month, the top is Uzumaki Naruto, second is Hyuga Hinata, third is Uchiha Sasuke, fourth is Nara Shikamaru. Troublesome, Shikamaru thought lightly, glancing at the glare which Sasuke was generously giving to Naruto. As usual, Naruto's shadow clones popped one by one, giving him their information. His head usually spun for a while, but after 5 minutes meditation, he was able to sort out the information, before making 400 more clones to go back to training. He usually trained himself after school, or helped Hanabi with her training, but today he had to do something different. With that thought in mind, he picked up Hanabi, before setting off towards the Uchiha compound. Sasuke was pissed. Really pissed. Not that anyone cared, they were too busy laughing at his Haruno pink hair and ballerina tutu, even the fangirls were giggling madly. Of course, he had no idea why they were laughing. I love genjutsu. Naruto thought, smirking at the Uchiha. This is his fault. The Uchiha thought, growling slightly. He was about to confront the evildoer, when the teacher walked in. Irika walked in, not batting an eyelid at Sasuke's odd outfit. He began to call the register. Inazuka Kiba. Here. Haruno Sasuke. He what? Sasuke shrieked slightly. Ms. Haruno. Irika scolded. Please be silent while I call the register. You could practically see the fumes as Sasuke sat back down angrily. Actually, thanks to another quick genjutsu, you could see the fumes. Smelled like roses, too. The register went on, before Irika put the book down, pulling out a chalk. Today we will be learning about binomial theorem. Groans reverberated throughout the class. Open your books to page 57. Everyone did so, expecting to find mind-boggling lists of A's, B's, N's and X's. Instead, they found themselves staring at very graphical pictures of Sasuke participating in less than approving actions with large, hairy men. Shrieks reverberated through the room, though many fangirls fainted, blood running from their noses. Sasuke moaned slightly, causing the whole room to stare at him. I mean, you. Sasuke shouted loudly, throwing the book away. You, homo. Kiba, the ever homophobic, shrieked. Just then, another Irika slammed into the classroom, sweaty and quite vexed. Naruto. He growled menacingly, the other Irika gulping slightly. With a puff of smoke, it disappeared. The remaining teacher turned to find the perpetrator, but found that Naruto's desk was already empty. He sighed angrily, before disabling the genjutsu on Sasuke, and the genjutsu on everyone's books. Okay class, since you all failed to recognize such simple genjutsus, we will be learning genjutsu today, and there will be a test on it on Thursday. The class moaned, and the same thing was on their minds. Damn you Naruto. The year passed quickly, Naruto always coming first in the fighting, while Hinata always came first, beating even Sakura, in the knowledge. Before he knew it, the graduation day had come. Oh holy lug. Naruto chanted the mantra, meditating in the school playground, upside down on a branch. It was 6 a.m., but Naruto decided that, best really early that really late. Besides, he could pray to the log. Oh savior. 2 hours later, but still 1 hour early, Hinata arrived, carrying a scroll with her. They greeted each other, before Naruto asked, "What's in the scroll, Hinata-chan?" Hinata sent a pulse of chakra into the scroll, where it said heat seal, and with a popping sound, 11 heavenly bowls of ramen appeared. Naruto took 10, eating fast, but not in a disgusting manner. Hinata ate her one bowl silently, looking at her friend. She wondered a bit, imagining a future where she would marry Naruto. Little blonde-haired children, with lavender streaks and large, pale eyes. She snorted, giggling as she imagined it. Like she would ever go out with Naruto, she saw him as more of a brother, it would almost feel incestuous. Naruto sent her a questioning glance, before shrugging, women. So, Naruto, do you remember the 7 upper body critical areas? Yes, the brain, the solar plexus. They reviewed material with each other for another hour, testing each other and doing some last-minute studies, even though neither needed it. As more children began to arrive, they abandoned their studies and greeted their friends, which was nearly everyone, except Sasuke and his merry band of fangirls. Before they knew it, they were sitting in a class, test papers in front of them. Start! Mizuki shouted, activating a timer. Let's see, thought Naruto. Ninja A is 30 meters away from Ninja B, who is on a cliff, 10 meters above the ground. The wind blows towards the south at 3 miles per hour. At what angle should Ninja A throw a kunai of 3 kilograms to hit Ninja B? Easy. Naruto quickly solved the questions, sure he would do good. He had once thought that, maybe he should fail on purpose or something, but Hinata had quickly talked him out of that. Flashback. Hinata-chan, I might hide my skills. Naruto said, eating his sandwich. Hinata swallowed her bite, replying. Oh? And what would such a thing pertain to? Well, I'd fail, or get just the pass mark on purpose I guess, and maybe I'd lose on taijutsu more often. Are you retarded? No. Naruto said defensively. The core of being a ninja is deception and stealth. Does that involve deceiving your comrades? She asked, slightly sarcastic. Well. Besides, are you willing to let Sasatine beat you up? No. Then it's settled. No failing. Hinata said, taking another bite. End flashback. Naruto sat back, rereading his paper, before putting it down and chewing his pencil. He looked around, finding Sakura staring ahead with a smug smile, Sasuke just about finishing, and Hinata relaxing. The test quickly finished and the children were led outside to a sparring ring. Now we will test your taijutsu. Iruka began. You will engage either Mizuki or myself, however we will not fight back, only defend. Your goal is to score 1 hit on us. Mizuki pulled out a bowl, filled with names. First up is Ino. Ino entered the ring, and although it took nearly 3/4 of the allotted 5 minutes per person, she finally managed to glance a punch against Iruka's shoulder. Next, Sakura. Sakura's fight was almost identical to Ino's, but she managed to hit Mizuki with a kick to the shin. Sasuke. Sasuke faced Mizuki, getting into his Uchiha stance. Although, had Mizuki been fighting back, he would have lost, he managed to land a backhand in a mere 20 seconds. His fangirls fawned, cheering over him. Beat that, dope, Sasuke said scaldingly. All his fangirls sneered at the blonde, saying degrading comments. Naruto. Iruka called, stepping into the ring. Begin. Punch. Oh how Naruto loved the shunshin. With a record time of 0.5 seconds, Naruto passes this phase. Mizuki said, slightly disbelieving. Sasuke growled. Where does he get this power? I need this power, he does not deserve it. I need it to kill Itachi. Sasuke said, ranting angrily. Naruto walked back to his friends, who offered him congratulations. Everyone else managed to score a hit, Hinata beating Sasuke with an open-palmed hit to Iruka's stomach after just 10 seconds. That just served to drive him into more of a fury. The raven-haired boy walked to the Dobe. Dobe. Where did you get your power? He growled. The log hast bestowed it unto me, so I may serve it. Cut the bullcrap. Naruto gasped angrily. The holy log is not bullcrap. I'll show you bullcrap. With a few hand seals, Sasuke found himself sitting in and smelling some illusionary bull turd. You're kidding me, right? Sasuke said angrily. Kai. The shit disappeared, but the smell stayed, and no amount of frantic Kai would get it off for some reason. Irika walked over to the frantic boy, touching his forehead and muttering Kai. The smell disappeared, Irika wondering how Naruto could weave a high Chunin level smell altering genjutsu. Mizuki meanwhile called the children in for their last test. The children all took a seat in the classroom to which they were led, while Mizuki and Irika entered a small, plain door in the corner of the room. Mizuki then poked his head out and shouted for Kiba to enter. As the chatter began, Kiba nervously entered, coming back barely a minute later, the proud owner of a forehead protector. Naruto cheerily patted him on the back, waiting for his turn. Everyone managed to get their forehead protector, except the nameless academy student dude who was mentioned a couple of chapters ago. Anywho, soon enough, Naruto's name was called, Irika's scarred face appearing to call him. He confidently walked into the room, finding himself in an unused classroom, Mizuki sitting on a desk, while Irika was standing up, holding a clipboard, chewing a pen. Ah, Naruto. Mizuki began. I'd like you to display a henge, please. Naruto, without hand seals or even talking, became a log. Okay then. Irika said, ticking something on his board. Clone jutsu, please. Which one? Naruto asked. What do you mean? Well, I know 6. Irika's eyes bugged out, but he remained calm. Well, display whatever you like. You can get extra credit if I find your other ones are good. Bunshin no jutsu. Naruto muttered, making a seal. 4 illusionary clones appeared. Mizu Bunshin no jutsu. 4 Narutos formed from a cup of water next to Irika, who frowned slightly. I was going to drink that. The water clones fell in a splash of water, some falling to the ground, the rest returning to the cup. He got a lot of that water from the air. Mizuki thought. Tsuchi Bunshin no jutsu. Nothing happened at first, then 3 Narutos outside knocked on the window. There's no rock here, and I didn't want to spoil the floor by bringing some up. Naruto said in a way of explanation. All right. Continue. Irika said. Kage Bunshin no jutsu. Naruto intoned, 5 clones forming. Just as quickly they puffed into smoke. Kaze Bunshin no jutsu. Naruto said, this time using 2 hand seals. The clones formed looked exactly like a shadow clone, but when dispelled, the surrounding floor got cut deeply. I've never heard of wind clones. Mizuki thought wryly. And finally, Moku Bunshin no jutsu. Naruto said, making 3 clones which grew, quite grossly, in Mizuki's honest opinion, from different parts of Naruto's body. Okay, well, I could honestly pass you with just that, but I think you should show me a kawarimi. Once again with nary a sound nor hand seal, Naruto kawarimi'd, a leaf appearing where he was. Did he just kawarimi with something that small through a solid object? Irika thought incredulously, referring to the wooden wall. Naruto kawarimi'd again, the leaf disappearing as Naruto came back into sight. Irika handed him a forehead protector, which he tied around his waist. Congratulations Naruto, you are now a fully fledged leaf genin. You will find out your teams tomorrow, at 9 a.m. Don't forget to come. Thanks Irika-sensei. Naruto said cheerily, exiting. He was quickly greeted by Hinata, who, seeing his new adornment, was quick to congratulate. Congratulations Naruto. She said happily. We both passed. And I'm second, you're Rookie of the Year. Oh, hee, I didn't think of that. Naruto replied. Thanks though. How about some celebratory ramen later? Oh, I can't. Hinata replied, her tone apologetic. I will probably have to spend the day with my family. Alright then. Naruto said, still slightly cheery but not so much. The two friends sat back down, waiting as Irika tested one last person before finally exiting. He stood in front of 9 newly promoted genins, and he began to give a speech. I have no doubt that you have all learned at least something in the past year, but the mark of a true teacher is one who learns from his students, as well as teaches. And if there's one thing I've learned from all of you, it's that you will not appreciate a boring long speech. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Be there. Irika said, his puff of smoke as he shunshin drowned out by the sound of cheering. Naruto walked out, alongside Hinata as the silence died down. So when will your FA? Naruto began as they walked into the playground. Oh, speak of the devil, there he is. And never a paler devil there was. Hayashi replied, inwardly smiling. Naruto gulped nervously, wondering how on earth the ninja had heard him from so far. Come, Hinata, we must go. Hinata-chan, Hayashi-sensei. Naruto, you are invited to dinner later, at 9 o'clock. Really? Naruto asked excitedly, brightening up immediately. Hinata's face betrayed her surprise. This is odd, the feast with the Hyuga is at 5, which obviously means, father invited him to our small personal meal. She thought, it was odd how Naruto had wormed his way into her immediate family's hearts. Yes. Besides, if I did not invite you, Hanabi would surely wreak vengeance. And hell hath no dash. Wrath like an angry woman. Naruto completed wisely. I was going to say an angry Hyuga, but that works too. Hayashi said. See you later, Hayashi-sensei. Naruto exclaimed happily, before sunshining off. Naruto sat on the Hokage monument, meditating. He had several hours till he needed to even get home to get ready, never mind go to the Hyuga household, so he decided to get some minor training in. The blonde boy expelled some chakra from his tenketsu, allowing it to dissipate. He carefully tracked where the chakra went to, thus serving two purposes, increasing chakra control and improving chakra sensing skills. Naruto decided to change his method, using the chakra he expelled to control the wind around him. It began to spin around him gently, ruffling his spiky hair. He increased the speed, but kept a tight fist on the control, wondering where this random experimentation would get him. He loved random experimentation, it was how he had made the Kaze Bunshin. The wind continually spun around him, gaining in speed. Some pebbles from nearby got pulled in, becoming gray streaks in the moving wind, also inspiring the young lad. He at first attempted to add earth chakra straight away, but quickly found himself losing control of the wind. He released the earth chakra, reaffirming his hold on the wind. It seemed the earth chakra was too solid for the flexibility of the wind. He'd have to find another way to combine them. So, with nothing else to do, he released some water-based chakra from his hands, allowing his tenketsu to release wind-based chakra continually. It was very hard to concentrate on both, but his experience with Mokuton allowed him to do so. As soon as Naruto released the water chakra, the rapidly moving wind became a speedily moving torrent of wind-powered water. It was to that sight Mizuki walked to the top of the monument. His plans to get the scroll had still not developed, and once he saw the majestic blue orb of water, a slightly shimmering figure of Naruto. Barely visible behind it, a proverbial light bulb lit above him. He waited for a couple more minutes till the young blonde decided to let go of the water. Mizuki-sensei. Can I help you? Naruto asked, having sensed the man before he even got to the monument. Oh, well, as you know you're the #1 rookie, but we both know your talent exceeds such a position. Seeing Naruto's silence, Mizuki continued. So I have a proposal, you can be instantly promoted to Chunin if you can complete a task for me. Really? Naruto asked excitedly, not believing the man for a second. His log senses were tingling. Yep. Mizuki replied, his hope increasing. All you have to do is retrieve a scroll from the Hokage's office and learn at least one jutsu from it, you will be promoted to Chunin. The scroll looks like this. Mizuki said, showing a photo he had retrieved from Orochimaru. Naruto instantly recognized it. He had seen it in his fourth or fifth time in the Hokage's office, having asked what it was. The Sandame's simple reply was, "The legacy of Konoha's skill. Meet me in the forest at 7 if you manage." "I will, sensei, in the name of the log." Naruto held the scroll tightly, jumping through the trees with his practice traveler's log firmly strapped to his back and adrenaline running through his veins. Naruto was anything but stupid, and when Mizuki had offered his proposal for quick promotion to Chunin, Naruto hadn't believed it for a second and had decided to act as a double agent for the Hokage. However, what the Hokage didn't know was that Naruto was acting as a triple agent for himself. He could see his destination in the distance, but he knew he was still early, and so he continued with his plan. The young blonde had an impressive ninjutsu arsenal, however, he only knew around 15 Mokuton jutsus, 3 of them being of his own invention. It was mostly lack of sources for jutsus, Yamato-sensei often holding back the strongest ones due to Naruto's evident youth. However, this scroll was made by the log pulpit was bound to contain many Mokuton jutsu, as well as some Suiton from the second Hokage, and while the boy had agreed with the Sandame on their plan, he would do anything for such jutsus. With that in mind, he stopped jumping, getting into a meditative position. He was no fool, knowing that the Hokage was probably watching him right now with that crystal ball of his, and so he pulled out a paintbrush and some rice paper, which turned out to be optimum medium for sealing due to better chakra conduction. Who knew? With swift and thick strokes, Naruto painted several kanji with his ink-dipped brush, before laying them around him. He channeled chakra into the perfectly and gracefully made seals, and watched as a barely visible dome of shimmering twinkles enveloped him. The Hokage's crystal ball glowed for a second, shimmering blue kanji spiraling outwards. As the jutsu activated, he began to search for the blonde boy. He closed his eyes, sending chakra into the scroll and visualizing it perfectly in his mind. A few seconds later, the wood from the branch on which he sat began to mutate, seemingly regurgitating a perfect replica of the forbidden scroll. Nary a second later, a Moku Bunshin also melted out of the branch, grabbing the replica and dashing off. The seals stopped glowing as Naruto stopped channeling chakra into them, disintegrating the rice paper with the activation of a small seal on the corner of each paper. The seal which he had just used was the invention he was most proud of. Depending on small details which he painted, it would replicate the surroundings in the past few seconds to all those outside the dome. All the Sandame had seen when he had scanned over that specific area was the branch, with no seals, no Naruto, and no scroll as it was a few seconds ago. Mizuki was severely creeped out. He was at first rather excited. Finally, his mission would be complete, and he could go rejoin his master. However, his trek to his meeting place with his soon-to-be victim was horrible. The trees themselves seemed to attack him, paths being shut off by huge webs of branches, his kunai pouch snagged by a low-hanging branch, wolves howling in the distance. A clone of Naruto followed slowly, suppressing his chakra as far as possible while still managing to perform jutsus. He held back a snicker as Mizuki's trousers were accidentally pulled down for the third time by a branch, before applying a fear-inspiring genjutsu. After an hour more of torture, Mizuki finally found his victim, mostly because the Naruto was bored, sitting in a clearing, studying the scroll. "Ah, Naruto. Excellent job," Mizuki began. "Now, just give me the scroll." Naruto began. "Nah. Naruto. Give me the scroll, or you'll be demoted back to academy level," the gray-haired man threatened. "Newsflash, traitors can't demote anyone," Naruto sneered. Mizuki immediately dropped the kind teacher act. "So, you found out." Mizuki scowled. He would have to use his trump card. "Have you ever wondered why everyone hates you, demon?" he spat out. Naruto pretended to flinch, widening his eyes and letting off a vibe of sadness. "Because, you are the Kyuubi," Mizuki roared, expecting Naruto to freak. "And you are a hermaphrodite," Naruto replied. "The log has forbidden any form of traitorous behavior, and I must punish you." "The log? Bullshit. What's the log gonna do to me, huh?" Mizuki asked, ripping a branch off a nearby tree. "See? I haven't received any holy raw dash," Mizuki screamed. A ray of golden light struck him, setting him on fire as the holy chakra of log burned him. Naruto immediately dropped the scroll, bowing to the floor with reverence. The ray of fiery light stopped just a few seconds short of killing the traitor, leaving Naruto to gather his bearings and encase the man in wood. Mizuki was opening and closing his mouth silently, gaping like a fish. The pain was terrible, but in all honesty he wished he had died. If he had, then he wouldn't be in Ibiki's cells for the next few weeks. An ANBU agent came from nowhere, grabbing the wood-encased traitor and leaving without a word, all part of the plan. With that done, Naruto dispersed. The Naruto who was currently smoothing the creases in his white kimono barely flinched as he received the memories of his clone. Mission success, Kyuubi said in his mind, its voice deceptively feminine, that's another load of your mind. Naruto ignored the beast in favor of reading the holy book of log for 20 minutes or so till it was time to make his way to his generous hosts. He began to go to the door but stopped in front of a mirror on the way. He smoothed out some creases, neatened his hair, well, as neat as it could get, made sure he still had his spare kunai and made a clone to stay with his traveler's log. With that all done, he left the door, locking it and shoving the key in one of his inner pockets. He made his way through the dark streets, barely illuminated by some weak streetlights, kicking a pebble and reciting some verses of log as he walked. He was around halfway there when he heard a sound. Thump. Curiosity piqued, Naruto made his way towards the sound, his ears leading him to a training field, just in time to see. Thump 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 crack. With a final mighty kick, the boy in green spandex cracked the wooden training post in half. Naruto suppressed a shriek. He would need Hanabi's expert advice to punish this heretic. He quickly absorbed all the possible details, from the bowl cut to the white eyes and orange leg warmers, before continuing on his way. He arrived 5 minutes early, entering with a curt greeting to the guard there. The house was lit warmly, the pipes flowing with warm water under the floor tiles keeping his, now, bare feet warm. He looked around in approval of the lack of dead logs. He had done a good job. Hikage entered the room, greeting him warmly. Naruto. How have you been? It's been so long since you visited little old me, she said, pinching his cheeks good-naturedly. I'm sorry, Hikage-san. I just got so caught up in training, and the academy. I've been fine, thank you. How are you? Naruto replied, sitting on one of the comfortable lounge chairs. Before the Hyuga matriarch could reply, Hanabi came running in with a black kimono embroidered with sparkling logs, her traveler's log firmly strapped to her back. Blessings of the log upon you, Hanabi said excitedly, sitting down as Naruto replied in turn. Being used to the oddity which was these two, Hikage simply ignored it, content to watch as the two children chattered on. It wasn't long till Hinata joined them, the three of them speculating on the amazing missions they would go on, princesses they would save, dashing thieves they would catch. Hikage held back a snort, not wanting to burst their bubble. Half an hour passed before a timid servant came to tell them that dinner was ready. Hinata thanked her warmly, before grabbing Naruto's arm and leading him to the dining table, where Hayashi was already seated. Naruto greeted the man, before taking a seat in between Hinata and Hanabi. The eldest Hyuga daughter had warned Naruto prior to keep his stomach empty, and as the smell of the food wafted onto him, he had to suppress the rumbling of his stomach. Servants began to walk in, each holding silver platters, trays and bowls full of food. The table was soon groaning under the strain, and Naruto couldn't help let out a small whoa. Hanabi let out a most un-Hyuga giggle. This is just the appetizer. Everyone began to dig in, however. Naruto and Hanabi first chanted in unison, "We thank the log this day for this bountiful meal, and we beg the log to bless us and protect us as it always has, and we vow to uphold our side of the bond with the log. Itadakimasu." The dinner lasted 2 hours, and honestly, Naruto couldn't remember most of it, the time passing in a blur of talking, laughing, and eating. Afterwards, they all sat in the living room, sipping tea and relaxing. Somehow Naruto found himself getting into a long talk with Hayashi about politics, and somehow he learned something. Hayashi was actually impressed with the boy. He was rather creative when it came to solving, and so with a few minutes of thought, he turned to his daughter's friend. "Naruto, I am told you wish to become Hokage?" "If the log wills it," Naruto replied, a gleam in his eye. Hayashi bit back a sigh, before continuing. I would like to schedule you politics and etiquette lessons, 4 lessons a week. Naruto was about to protest, but Hayashi cut him off. Naruto being Hokage is not easy. Can you imagine a scenario where you have 10 Jonin-ranked ninja out on the field, however they are all in danger of dying? You could let them die, or you could send your best friend to help the Jonin. The Jonin would live but your friend would perish. Can you imagine the burden of such decisions? Naruto was silent for a second before, "Alright Hayashi-sensei, and thank you." The time quickly approached midnight, Naruto having been caught up plotting the spandex freak's demise with Hanabi. Seeing the late hour, Naruto excused himself, promising to visit early in the morning to pick up Hinata so that they could go to the academy together where they'd be sorted into their teams. Naruto was dead tired, but he summoned a dozen clones to get busy while he slept. The ringing of Lee's phone woke him up, and he immediately ran to it to answer. He was shocked when a croaking, dark voice answered him. "Your youth will end in 7 days. Lee slammed the phone down, holding down a scream. "Not my youth!" he screamed, rushing to the shower. He felt slimy. He was just beginning to take his pajamas off when he glanced at his visage in the mirror, and he nearly had a heart attack. His youthful hair was withered gray, skin pockmarked with liver spots and drooping off his face, a mass of wrinkles. He fell to the floor, screaming. No, my youthfulness. My golden flames of youth are slipping. My flower of life has withered. Lee nearly gave up, but he was a genius of hard work, and resolved to regain his youth with rigorous, glorious training. He entered the shower, quickly getting clean, and nearly fainted from relief when his image showed the return of his youth. He let out tears of joy, signs of his springtide of youth overflowing, and he began to comb his hair into the most youthful style of the Jejun Meito guy. However, in his horror, nothing was going as he willed. His arms seemed to be independent of him, applying hip gels which he had never purchased and combing in a most unyouthful style. Soon his hair was done up in a most juvenile way, thick waves of silky hair covering his scalp. It reminded him of that singer who had once taken the elemental countries by storm. What was his name? Pelvis Esserly? No matter what he did, the horribly hip hairstyle wouldn't leave him, and with a heavy heart, he decided to counteract the hip style with the most youthful thing of all, spandex. Rushing to his cupboard and yanking the white door open, he fell down in horror. Naruto walked to the academy slowly, Hinata by his side, the both of them speculating on which teams they would be placed in. Suddenly, birds flew from every tree in sight as an ear-shattering scream reached them. "My spandex!" Naruto chuckled slightly, Hinata sending him a puzzled look, but neither of them halted for a second, continuing their way to the academy. They arrived just on time, sitting next to each other, as Irika began a long speech on the duties, responsibilities, and dangers they would be facing. "Wake me up when he's done," Naruto said, taking a nap. Hinata moaned, she had wanted to sleep. "Wake me up when he's finished," Hinata said tiredly, poking Kiba, who had been about to sleep. Bug boy," Kiba said rudely, looking at Shino. "Wake me up when he stops." However, he was surprised to find Shino fast asleep, as well as Shikamaru. "Choji?" Snores greeted him back, and soon Kiba just gave up and began to doze. "It is important to rem," Irika said, before being cut off by a loud snore. Everyone in the class was asleep, including the usually respectful people, like Shino and Hinata. Was he really that boring? Turning to his assistant Noriko, Mizuki's replacement, he nearly flipped when he found her fast asleep. He was about to merely wake the students up with a predictable shout and a scary big head jutsu, but instead he smirked. He began to prepare. "What the F?" 10:10 began as Lee walked in, the epitome of sex on legs. His leather pants firmly hugged his legs, a jet black leather jacket fitted over a white shirt with a flaming skull on it. Lee's usually bandaged hands were instead covered in black, fingerless gloves, a skull-themed watching hanging off his wrist. His usually cheery visage was in tears, but that's not what drew Tenten's attention. That hair, sexy. She thought, could this really be Lee? My youth. Ji-sensei, I have been stripped of my youth and been left in this horrid state of hypnosis. Make it go away. Yep, it's Lee. I should really go thank whoever did this. Alright then. Iruka muttered quietly. He flipped through a dozen hand seals, concentrating as he said, water shot barrage technique. He aimed for quantity not quality, 31 baseball-sized globes of water floating behind him. Splash! Screams galore, and soon everyone was glaring, and soon after that, everyone was laughing. Who knew Iruka had a sense of humor? Iruka noticed faintly that Hinata and Naruto were totally dry, Naruto somehow making the jutsu just disperse before it hit them. Ignoring the display of skill, Iruka began to talk. Well, I guess the mark of a great teacher is one who learns from his students, and if anything, I've learned that you won't appreciate a boring speech. So, Team 1. Naruto began to converse with Hinata, perking up when he heard the names of people close to him. Team 7, Sasuke Uchiha. Pick me, pick me. Every unassigned girl except Hinata thought quietly. Yamanaki I-True Love. In your face forehead Gi-Ino began to shout, however, she was cut off by Iruka. And Haruno Sakura. Jonin Sensei Hataki Kakashi. Immediately, the two harpies began to argue, but everyone tuned them out. Team 8, Nara Shikamaru. Although the said Nara didn't make any move, he was rather surprised. He had expected himself to be assigned with Choji and Ino. He kept an ear open, wanting to find out the rest of his teammates. Hyuga Hinata. The said Hyuga began to look at her other teammate, before begging that the powers that be had decided that her other teammate would be Naruto Uzumaki. Jounin Sensei Dash. The window smashed as a purple and beige blur flew in, bouncing off a wall and landing on Iruka's head. As the motion stopped, the blur revealed itself to be a young woman, violet hair done up in a short and somewhat spiky ponytail. A tan trench coat barely covered her mesh bodysuit, which stretched from her neck down to her thighs, a dark orange miniskirt visible to all those present. While the rest of the males were content to leer at those details, the present Nara and Uzumaki were busy absorbing every detail: the shin guards, the snake fawn pendant on a thick cord, the dark blue belt and the light brown, pupil-less eyes. The sexy and single Mitarashi Anko. The odd woman, now identified as Anko, screamed. No one made a sound as she calmly devoured 3 sticks of dango, before deftly throwing the sticks towards the students. Hinata and Naruto easily caught the ones aimed at them, Shikamaru deflecting his with a pen. Alright you maggots. Meet in training ground 44, now. She shouted as she disappeared in a whirl of leaves and oddly a hissing, snake-like sound. Naruto was about to dash off when Iruka stopped him. Naruto, training ground 44 is known as the Forest of Death. Naruto suppressed a nervous gulp, instead opting to jump out of the shattered window, using a shunshin mid-fall. He arrived just a millisecond before Hinata, standing silently as Anko analyzed her students. The Tokubetsu Jounin was excited. She had never had students before, and when the Hokage had forced this on her she had been alarmed at the prospect, but toying with these maggots may just be some fun. Shikamaru arrived a few minutes later, having not been able to use the shunshin. Naruto resolved to teach it to him as soon as possible. Alright Bugs. She announced, purposely raining spittle on the genin in front of her. You may feel happy that you passed, but I'm about to knock you off your high horse. Out of the 10 teams which passed, only a third will actually continue on to become genin. What do you mean, Anko-sensei? Hinata asked. Us Jounin senseis must provide an additional test, not some stupid written test, or taijutsu test in a controlled environment. No, we need to see your aptitude at surviving the real world. With that, she disappeared in a blur. Follow me insects. Glancing at each other, the 3 genin dashed off into the gloomy forest, wondering what this odd woman held in store for them. They soon arrived in a clearing, but with a shunshin, they found Anko staring at them from a high branch above. Although the forest's namesake was death, the 3 genins had not seen anything worthy of worry. However, that was about to change. Splash! The 3 genin tried to get the liquid out of their eyes, rubbing fiercely. Is this gravy? Naruto asked. Shikamaru gulped fearfully. It's just gravy, Shikamaru. Naruto began. Yeah, gravy in a forest full of hungry animals, tigers, bears and... Oh, tigers and bears will be the least of your worries. Anko said maliciously. Your task is to survive for 2 hours. And with that, she disappeared. A twig snapped, and the 3 genin assumed their fighting positions, back to back. A rustle in the bushes, and before they knew it they were facing a pack of wolves, around 12, who formed a circle around the shinobi. The alpha wolf let out an angry growl, before lunging towards Naruto, who ducked, watching as Hinata's palm soared over where he had been, smashing the wolf in the nose. With a pitiful whine, the wolf slunk back, before attacking again with the whole pack behind it. The 3 genin began to fight back, however, they didn't want to kill the wolves. Barely 2 minutes passed before Naruto made a dome out of wood, activating a jutsu to light up the dark space. He could hear the wolves clawing at his shield, but he ignored it. We need a plan, he said, looking at his prospective teammates. I have an idea. Shikamaru began. After 5 minutes of consulting, the dome fell. Shit! They all thought simultaneously as they saw what they were facing. Wolves, tigers, bears, bear-sized spiders and a butterfly faced them, angry snarls on all their faces. They wasted no time in beginning their plan. 3 Naruto clones popped out of nowhere, all of them rushing through seals. Wood began to sprout from the ground, grabbing legs, paws, tails and heads, restraining a lot of the animals. At the same time, Shikamaru activated the shadow sewing technique, grabbing 12.5 wolves, and soon all the animals were restrained. Hinata, quick! Shikamaru groaned, the effect of the jutsu quickly burdening him, as he had barely mastered the use of that specific technique. Hinata nodded, gathering some chakra and activating the lightning palm technique. She then began a complex series of acrobatics, jumping, pirouetting, leaping, flipping and cartwheeling, but in less than a minute, all the animals were stunned. Several Naruto clones began to drag them into a huge pile, before constructing a huge cage of wood. They should be out for a good 3 hours, which neutralized the threat for the duration of the exam. They were just about to relax when a scuttling, loud, tap 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 reached them. Again they assumed the back-to-back position, but Hinata, with her Byakugan active, saw the threat first. Oh my! What is it, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. A 10-meter-high spider, with fangs the size of a tree. Oh holy log, sustain us! Naruto shouted, effectively drawing the attention of the humongous arachnid, who emerged from the trees into the clearing. The 3 of them rolled in separate directions, dodging a ginormous pincer. Naruto and Hinata shared a knowing glance, before they grabbed Shikamaru and shunshined up to a branch. Shikamaru, any ideas? Yes, I've read a manual on disabling boss summons, and this shouldn't be much different. First. Soon they were enacting another of Shikamaru's plans. Naruto and Hinata jumped from the tree, occupying the spider while Shikamaru rushed through the bushes. Naruto rolled to the side, narrowly dodging the leg which would have pierced through his body. He ran towards the spider, dodging another leg and jumping up till he was level with the spider's cephalothorax, sending a vicious axe kick. However, he collided with the spider's shell, bouncing off with a pained leg. He was about to attack again when Shikamaru's whistle reached him. Both he and Hinata jumped back, watching as hundreds of kunai attacked the spider. While the arachnid was distracted, 2 clones launched Hinata towards the spider, her palms crackling with purple electricity. The Hyuga landed on the creature's head, before she began to attack the spider's soft points. A couple of attacks on the head, some lightning jutsu directed to the creature's underbelly, and soon the monstrosity was stunned. Seeing his turn, Naruto quickly activated a jutsu. Wooden appendages exploded outwards towards the beast, 8 in total, each aiming for a leg. As each leg was hit, the wood detached from Naruto's body, spiraling around the spider's leg and attaching to the ground, until the spider was held by wooden shackles in a corkscrew fashion. However, it wasn't enough, and as the spider regained mobility, it began to struggle against the bonds. Shikamaru quickly threw several kunai, thick steel ninja wires attached to each, and he managed to skillfully trap the spider. Naruto quickly pulled out his jet black whip, using his chakra to change it to 2 wakizashis. He channeled wind chakra through the right one, viciously attacking the spider's underbelly. He narrowly avoided the spilled guts and innards as the spider was sliced open in several directions, but couldn't avoid the splatter of blood. The spider groaned, but did not die till Hinata exploded a lightning ball in the thing's face. As the spider fell, the three fell back with a gasp. Seeing that they smelled of blood and gravy, Naruto quickly used a water jutsu to rid them of the worst smell, concealing the rest with a genjutsu. Anko walked in, clapping slowly. Excellent job, it seems you instinctively grasped the meaning of the exercise. The meaning, Anko-sensei? Shikamaru asked. This was all so troublesome. Tell me, would you have been able to neutralize the threat of the animals if you had each acted alone? Would you have been able to kill that spider solo? Teamwork. Naruto said, that was the meaning, right? Yes. A team with individually skilled members will be useless if they cannot act as a cohesive unit. Anyway, you maggots stink. Go! You have the day off, meet at the Dango stand on Street 42 tomorrow at 5 a.m. sharp. She said, an evil glint in her eye. 'Cause that's when training begins. The three gulped nervously as their sensei disappeared. How about some celebratory ramen? Naruto said cheerfully. We didn't really get a chance to get to know you, Shikamaru, Naruto began. Naruto and I already know each other very well, but if we're going to be a team we should get to know each other. Hinata added. Shikamaru inwardly groaned. Troublesome. However, so far, his team didn't seem too bad. They were skilled and effective, and despite the fact that one was undeniably mental, they were both amicable people, willing to work as a team. He'd be stuck with them for, at the very least, 3 months, when the next Chunin exams were scheduled, so he should at least be on good terms with them. But honestly, ramen? You know, Naruto, I was hoping we could eat something other than ramen. In fact, I sort of have a picnic basket red dash. Yes. Naruto shouted happily. The log hath truly blessed me today. Hinata makes the best picnic baskets. Alright then, Shikamaru said, let's get cleaned up and meet at the ramen stand. I know a really awesome place to eat the picnic. Fair enough. Naruto replied, before shunshining to his apartment. A mere 10 minutes later, the three genin had met up in the ramen stand and was being led by Shikamaru. They were walking for a good 20 minutes till they reached the spot, but thankfully Hinata kept the picnic basket heated with the application of chakra. Shikamaru led them to a hilly area, neatly trimmed grass waving in the evening breeze, the sunset visible over the Hokage mountain in the distance. Hinata opened the basket, and his eyes widened as the smell of his favorite food, mackerel and kelp, reached him, and although he previously didn't feel hungry, he was suddenly ravenous. Smirking, Hinata handed him a plate with the food on it, as well as a mug of hot, sweet tea. Naruto found himself served with what he dubbed the Hinata special ramen, a mixture of hot spices, salty broth, various meats, and some deep-fried vegetable. A bowl of red bean soup was also placed in front of him, while Hinata had some cinnamon rolls and a bowl of zensai. As they ate, they talked quietly. They didn't bother with any introduce yourself things, as that was rather lame. In fact, they talked about each other's abilities, strengths and weaknesses, and somehow that conversation left Shikamaru with the unbelievable urge to train. After hearing the big bunch of varietal skills which was Hinata and Naruto, he felt like a one-trick pony, and though it was troublesome, he decided to change that. At around 5, they decided to go their separate ways. Shikamaru made his way straight home, entering the Nara compound and searching for his father. He found the man in the Nara medical lab, crushing some antlers to make some of the Akimichi food pills for his good friend Shuza. Ah, Shikamaru, what brings you here? Did you pass the genin test? The scarred man asked. Yes, Dad, I did. But, I need your help. The man stopped what he was doing, turning to his son. What would that pertain to? Dad, I want you to teach me. I know I've always said it's troublesome, and although I've always wanted to be an average ninja, I don't believe that's going to happen with the likes of Naruto and Hinata on my team. So, teach me. The elder Nara was surprised. His son wanted to learn? No matter how much the man usually bugged the younger Nara, he would always be busy, and honestly, at his son's current skill level, he was afraid that the child would be endangered in the shinobi world. Looking at the gleam in the boy's eyes, he felt proud, and in around 2 seconds he drew up a lesson plan, taking into account time spent with his team, festivals and holidays, long missions, percentage probability that the boy would pass the Chunin exams. Alright then. Let's get started, he announced firmly. Naruto was on his way home when he felt a familiar present. He nearly squealed in happiness. He's back. With 2 quick shunshin, he was at the gate, ready to greet the man. Blessings of the log upon you, Naruto said happily. And to you, my log Ashiego. How have you been? Yamato asked. He was tired, bloody and sweaty, but it was a joy to see the blonde-haired child. The said kid was currently relieving him of his packs, sending a clone to take them back to his house. Fine, thanks. How was the mission? Naruto didn't know exactly what the S-ranked mission had involved, but it had taken a massive 3 months, and the blonde was curious. The log blessed me, and I have completed the mission. But that's nothing, I managed to make a pilgrimage to the Great Oak, he exclaimed. Whoa! A few minutes, Yamato was offering his mission report to the Hokage, while Naruto waited outside. As he was dismissed, the Hokage ordered him to tell Naruto to enter. As the blonde did so, Yamato went home to shower. Hi old man. How are you? Fine, thank you, take a seat, the Hokage said. Well, first of all, thank you for your help defeating Mizuki. Since he was a traitor, then that mission technically classifies as an A rank, and you will receive pay accordingly. Really? Thanks old man, Naruto said, knowing exactly what to do with the money. That's not all of it. The spider which Anko had you defeat, well, that wasn't the original purpose. Anko was originally going to summon a large snake to see how you could handle it, however the Ujujushu served a purpose. There was actually a bounty on the beast's head, as it had once killed a wealthy merchant's wife. It is a significant sum, nearly double the value of the S-rank pay, and I'm trusting you to split it equally between your team. Naruto was gobsmacked. If this was true, then he could finally. Aji-san, can you tell me if there are any empty plots for sale in Konoha? Barely half an hour later, Naruto walked in the moonlit streets, with lots of money in bills and the lease for a plot. Granted, he had dipped into his savings a bit, but he had a plot. Even if the plot was on the edge of the forest of death, it was still a plot. He quickly delivered his teammates' share of the cash to their clans, with a note to each, before running home. He had some planning to do.
That's it for today. Remember to show your support to the creator of this story if you enjoyed it. If you would like more parts of the story to be uploaded, leave a comment and subscribe to get notified when the story continues. Bye-bye for now, and I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day.